I'm Patrick Bailey with whiteboardcoder.com. Today is November 25th, 2020. And in this video, I'll be going over laying down my Paver patio in my backyard. Okay, first, if you're watching this and you want to go lay down your own pavers in your backyard, there's some other videos done by some better people than me that I would suggest. So I have some links in my video, I'll put some links in my show notes. But here's a couple of ones. Installing brick paver, start to finish, day one. This is done by Stanley Dirt Monkey, and he does some really good videos. There's another one by him, how to install paver patios, walks and driveways. And another one I found on this old house. So I put some links in my show notes to those videos. Go watch these good ones. It builds up your confidence. It gives you a lot of good ideas. The only other thing I'm going to add to that is when you're pulling this sand. Now I did 3/4 inch height on my sand. 1 inch is probably a better way to go, but I think 3/4 inch would work for me just fine. And to get that precise measurement, what I did, I kept trying to find metal tubes to work. The best one I found was this EMT conduit I bought at Home Depot, which is 1/2 inch, but that's the inside diameter, not the outside. So I got that, and that worked pretty well for me. And so with that, let me start into all these videos I made.
Okay, here's where we're at right now. So we have built up 5 inches of base, 1 inch at a time, carefully building up, making sure it's measuring correctly and compacting it, and making sure we have a slope. And at least an 1/8 inch slope, in some places a 1/4 inch slope. And we've also got our pipe in there, which we're going to use to feed in our gas line. For now, propane, in the future, natural gas. So now we got to get the sand in, and we've got this all measured precisely. Now a lot of people do, if you look online, they do 1 inch depth, but you can do 3/4 too, I guess. Look around. We're doing 3/4 inch depth of sand. Now, if you're doing an inch, you can go get a 3/4 inch pipe, PVC pipe. That's the 3/4 inch pipe, which actually is an inch outside diameter. Consider the outside diameter. But I went to go try to find something that had a 3/4 inch outside diameter. And the PVC 1/2 inch is about that, but it's a little too flimsy for my taste. So I was trying to find something a little bit stiffer. And so I went around Home Depot in the conduit aisle, electrical conduit. I found some EMT 1/2 inch, 10-foot pieces that were about $3, so they're not too bad. So I got 3 of those, and we lined those up. And so we've measured from our string down to make sure that we're 3/4 inch up where we should be. So we got them all adjusted. We're good to go. We've got a bunch of pavers ready to go. So we're going to start getting the sand in here, put it in here, getting it as even as we can. I even saw some people using trowels to get just precision. So I got a trowel. So we'll see how this all goes. We're definitely not getting done today because it's getting late. But we'll get started and we'll see how it looks. And also, I've done another video on this and hopefully I've posted it by now, cutting the corners. So I got a wet saw. In fact, I got a DeWalt D36000 10 inch wet saw, and I used it. Even though it's really meant for cutting tile, it can cut pavers, and I did it. And I cut these guys really precise, and I think they're going to look nice in the corner. So I think we're good to go. We're ready. We just need sand. So let's go. Okay, so we have made I'm sure a rookie mistake. We thought we had it kind of squared up, but when we actually got these together and I got out and looked at it and compared to my house, it was all a little off kilter. It seemed to be off kilter. But then I was, at least in comparison to my stairs here. But sometimes you never know. Sometimes somebody puts some stairs in and they put the stairs in off kilter. So I got my big square. And I went up and I double checked to make sure that my stairs are in fact square with my house, and they are. So the next thing we did, we took a string and we pushed it against way up there. And we brought it out here and we took the string and brought it in until it just hit our stairs here, our concrete stairs, and it all lined up pretty well. And we put it down here and we realized, yeah, we really were off by a little bit, but that little bit adds up. And so we've moved these and fixed these, but you can see pretty good at the front, but at the top here, we're an inch off. And that's going to add up over time or look goofy. So make sure you have things square. So now that we've got that fixed, what we're going to do is double check these again, move what we have over. And these we just kind of carefully inched them over, and I think we're okay. And then after we get these all moved over, we'll do a bunch more double checks. And I think one of the best things we can do is put a line for our borders that's going to be down by our border, all the way down, so we can make sure that we're doing things square. So that's the joy for today. Okay, so like most things, it takes a lot longer than I think it takes. And this stuff is heavy, but we're getting there, and I am really liking the results. But I want to stop at this point, because right here is where we begin our wall. So this is the last paver for our edge right here. And after here, we're building a seating wall, which I'll go over here in a second. But as part of this, will be very different, because that seating wall has a universal base plate, which is part of their Yukara system. So we're going to have to actually dig under there a little bit to get that evened out, and actually even dig some of the rock up a little bit, because it has to go just underneath it. So that will be very interesting. So that's where we are right now. Let's go look at our little mock-up wall I've got. Okay, maybe hard to see in here, because I got all this saws and stuff in the way, but we mocked up the wall. So we have the seating wall we're putting in, which is using the Yukara system. which has these stackable bricks and also has this fascia that kind of hooks into these little hooks. And I'm sure I'll be doing a video on going over all that fun stuff, and it's probably going to be in a different video. It's a little weird right now because I'm trying to record all these segments without planning videos out, so we'll see how they all go together in the end. And this is about 7 feet by 14 feet roughly. But the idea right now is we have these universal base plates right here that go under the Ucara, and they don't need to have sand underneath them. They'll just kind of go on the hard gravel. But the idea is, here's my last paver, which is actually going to be that big one. And then the next thing will be, well, honestly, there's going to be a little, one of these guys will be actually in front of this, technically. Okay, so that's what we're going to see. In fact, we're going to have this universal base plate go underneath the last one just a little bit, not this far, but probably just about 4 to 6 inches to support it. And also the universal base plate will come out a little bit. So these pavers that are going to be the ones next to, which would be the edge, are going to go rest on it just a little bit, like that. But then underneath here will, of course, be the dirt and the sand. So you can see we're going to have to go dig up a little bit. And so we'll have all that set up. And we'll put these down, but we're not going to put the wall up right now. We'll put these down, get all the pavers in, and then do everything that needs to be done with the pavers. Then we'll come back later and do the wall. So, fun wall stuff. Okay, so we're getting down to the last little bit. In fact, I think right about where this line is roughly where the inside pavers will end. But now, I got a thing I knew was going to happen. I got my pipe here, which of course this has to go down a little bit further down, so I got to dig down. We're going to hit this pipe. So the best thing I can do that we came up with is just, I'm going to cut off a little piece here, cut this off using the wet saw, and then come back here and dig down. It'll be on either side of it, and then we'll have to go over this expanse, which we can do with the wall. So we're going to have in between we'll have basically nothing. I guess we could put some rock and sand in there, but there's going to be a unsupported gap, but we can bridge it. So with that, let's go bring these in and cut them. Okay, so here's my wet saw. There are other ways to cut this, but I got a wet saw. In fact, this is a brand new DeWalt 36000S, which hopefully I've done a video on by now, but you can cut pavers with it, which I have, but you have to switch it out. So I have a nice bit that can cut through concrete block, and I'll put a link, and here's the exact one I'm using right now. So with that, I'm just going to cut one of these, kind of show it in real time so you can see how long it takes to cut. I'm going slow. There's no reason for me to go fast because I don't do that many cuts. So with that, let's fire it up. go. We're in business. So now I just need to cut my other one and then get back to work. Okay, so here's my tube coming out of here. So I had a couple ideas on how to cut this out. I thought I was going to use one of these. I forget the name of this, but it's used for, cutting under some really thin stuff like on floorboards and stuff. But I just got the Dremel out and just worked my way around and finally cut it off. And now this can be below the sand level. I mean, it's okay to be really low because all I really want to do is eventually I'm going to take a paver and cut a hole in it, and I just need an access point. So I just uglily chop this off, which is good. And so now I'm just going to shove it full of something like this, some cloth or something, just so that sand doesn't get shoved down there as I do this, and then work it like that. So that'll be fun. But for now, I'm going to put a paver over it that does not have a hole in it. Later on, I'm going to drill a hole in the paver, which will be a lot of fun.
So that is it for this stage of laying out my pavers. Now in this image you can see a seating wall that I put up, which I will cover in other videos. Also, this section, which I'm marking right now, was a bit uneven. I had to go back and spend a lot of time getting it just right, which was a pain in the butt, pulling those pavers up, putting more sand down, going back and forth to get it just right. Because I really want it just right, because I do want the water to slough off and go out and not pull up in an area. So that was difficult, but got it done. Also, I did do the rest of the pavers. You can see this blank section here. I did the rest of the pavers except for the very last row. And the reason I didn't do the last row there on the edge, near the fence, is because I'm putting stairs there. And so I just don't want to put those in because my next step is I'll be doing poly sand, and I don't want to lock those in on the end because I do need to do some adjustments and get those stairs in just right. But anyway, there we are, because the next step will be doing the poly sand.
Thanks for watching. I hope you liked the video. If you did, please give it a like. To subscribe, just click the subscribe button. Also, you can follow me on Twitter under the handle @whiteboardcoder.com. View any code I may have thrown up as a gist at GitHub under the username PatmanDenver, or check out my blog site at whiteboardcoder.com.